Hey friends, welcome back to the channel, Creatively Sandra. If you're new here, thanks for being here. I'm Sandra, and on this channel we do all kinds of Disney stuff. Today we get to be creative as I do another episode of Let's Create Magic. This is a collaboration with a couple of crafty friends, and so we're all doing something each month with a theme. It could be crafting in the kitchen, it could be in your craft room, you could be creating ears, card making, scrapbooking, anything really. So let's get started. Oh, sorry, before I do that, let me tell you who's in the group. So I have Michele and Adrian with Raising a Disney Princess. We have Vicki from Vicki's Tigger Tales and Ginger from Just Ginger's Love of Disney. And today I am doing a card for you again, but it is the theme of flowers this month for May. And so I decided to make a card, but it is in the theme of Isabella from Encanto. And Isabella, as you know, creates flowers, and so I thought this would be a great nod to her. So I have a Kindred Stamps stamp set that is featuring Encanto and some of the sisters, and so I used it to make a card, and I'm going to show you the process for that now. I talk about this in the beginning, but we've got quite a few techniques in there with some embossing, some stenciling, stamping and coloring, a little bit of everything in this one. So follow along and let's see what I create. So for this card, we've got quite a bit going on. We're going to be using this stamp set, and we'll be stamping and coloring some stuff in. We've got our materials for our card base. We're going to be doing some stenciling, and we'll use inks and brushes for that, and we're going to be doing some embossing, and that is a really cool technique if you've never seen it before, so we'll try that out and let you see that. That involves a heat tool as well, so all of this, including a stamp positioner and some colored markers, are going to be involved. So let's get started. We are going to start with stamping the image, and I'm using a technique that allows us to get the image centered well on the card base. And so what we're going to do is first cut this down. So I've already used a cutting tool, my Cricut, and a cut file to cut out the image of Isabella, where the stamp will go. And so I'm just pulling that out gently because I didn't cut it perfectly. Okay, so now what this is going to allow us to do is line up where we want to place the image by using the negative of this. So I've got this, and these pieces don't really matter. Right now we'll fix that up in a bit. So what I want to do is I'm going to line this up and stamp here. How I'm going to do that is first by stamping the image on a base piece, and do that. I'm just trying to get it so that it'll be kind of centered. There's about the point where I want to stamp it. So what I'm going to do is place the stamp in the center. So here is the Isabella stamp. We actually need this whole thing to be backwards. Glad I checked. She's going to go right about here. Let's just make sure that's going to fit. Oh no, it is that direction. Okay, so that's going to be good. We're going to leave her right there. I close the lid, pull this up, and then what I do is ink that point, ink that stamp. I'm just fixing this. So ink up. And the reason you use this placement tool is so if you don't get the stamping perfect on the first try, you have a chance to do it again. Just press down gently there. And we've got a pretty good image, but I want to get it a little bit darker. So I'm just applying a little bit more ink. Let me do this to the side, that way you can see better. Okay. Now that I know where she's going, I'm going to take my template piece here, and I'm going to place it right around her so that it'll cut. I will get my image just in the center where I want it. So I'm centering it between, let's see, that one seems a little bit off. I've got it, there we go. Okay, so now when I cut, or when I stamp, I'm going to stamp on this piece, and how I'm going to do that is I need this one to be secure, so I'm going to take my magnet and get it exactly where I want. Secure that down with the magnet, and then I'm going to place this piece back in, and that's where we'll stamp. So then it should be perfectly aligned. Instead of having to fussy cut that out, I actually have it cut out for me already. And then we'll just color that in a bit. Right now, we're going to move on to creating our stenciled background. So I'm going to take a piece of cardstock. We don't need the black ink anymore. I'm going to try a couple shades of purples. One lighter, one darker. I'm going to take my stencil and tack it down so everything stays in place. There's a couple ways you can do this. I'm probably not doing it the most secure way, but it will be fine. We're actually going to cut it down a little bit after this, so I don't mind if a little tape gets on the edge. Normally you'd want to make sure that your tape is not going to stick to your paper and pull off some paper when you come up on that. And then I'll just attach the stencil to the table as well. Picking up some ink. Doesn't look like much yet because it's really light color. Just want to make sure I've got more on the edges. And once we're done, we'll cut this down. So here's what it looks like when you pull that up. And we're going to trim it down and add that to our card. Okay, so we got those two pieces. Now let's do some embossing. We're going to do white on black. So we'll remove this set, add the black cardstock. This stamp, and we'll clean that up in a bit, and then I'm going to add a saying, and we're going to emboss this in white. So probably want to do it down here. So let me close that up and lift. Okay, now we're going to use an ink that looks very clear, so you won't really see the image. And the other thing we just want to do is a quick dusting of powder. That just helps anything that's not supposed to stick, not stick. What we want to do is put some embossing powder on this. So I'm going to hold this over a catch tray. And spread the embossing powder generously. Then we're going to tap off the excess. I'm just going to do it again, make sure I've got good coverage. Now you can see some areas that have powder that shouldn't, and I'm going to get a little paintbrush and we're just going to dust that off. Pour the excess back into my bottle, and we've got a fine brush that I'm just going to get some of that junk out of there. Moment, and then we'll cut that out as well. Okay, hopefully you enjoyed the process, and the card is done. And you saw it at the end, but I'll show you there again. It isn't necessarily the quality I wanted. I went kind of quick to get it done, which is not really good It's kind of a shame when you're, I wait till the last minute and then I'm crafting against a deadline instead of just crafting to be creative, but I still had fun with it. I wasn't happy with where it was going, so add a little bling in the end, and that always helps, right? So here is the completed card, and we've got the coloring and stamping there. We've got the embossing here, and that purple flower background is the stenciling with 2 shades of purples there, and then all the colorful bling that was added. So I've got a floral paper under here, which you saw, and it just says, if friends were flowers, I'd pick you, and it is just adorable. If I do say so myself, really, because the stamps are adorable, but I like making it into something pretty. It's a hard one to do, to get like having all that white space in there with the flowers, but you don't want to separate them from her because that is her. I might try to play around in the future with one where I'm just putting in like a trail of flowers that are actual like bling type sticker flowers, some dimensional flowers, instead of using the flat stamping and coloring for that part. And then, as you saw, I always put in a white panel if I'm using dark cardstock as the card base itself. And then I always like to put a stamp that it was created by me so that people know how much love went into it when I send it to them. So that is it. That is the creation for today for Let's Create Magic with the theme of flowers. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed the process. Let me know if you have any questions. I will leave a link to Kindred stamps down below. I think this particular set is still in stock, but they go, some of them go pretty quickly, but they have a lot of Disney themed stamp set and lots of other fandoms as well. So if you are a rubber stamper or photopolymer stamper now, it used to be we were rubber stampers, but if you do that kind of thing, even if you just want it to decorate your envelopes and treat bags, things like that, without a lot of coloring and stuff, they're fun for that too. So check them out. And make sure you comment down below and tell me what you think, what was your favorite part of the process. Subscribe if you haven't already. Subscribe for future creative content. And I will see you guys on the next one.